Hi, I'm Charles, and I got out my soapbox today to talk about one of the worst miracles in the Bible. Before I do, I want to quickly throw in something about Deuteronomy 19, 20, and 21, where it says, "Thus you shall not show pity, but life for life, eye for eye, tooth for tooth. The rest will hear and be afraid, and will never again do such an evil thing among you." So this is sort of the savage justice of the Old Testament. It was a savage time. But it was justice. You take someone's life, you're going to have to forfeit your own life. You take someone's eye, it could very well cost you your own eye. But this is also the limits. It's like if someone knocks one of your teeth out, you don't get to take 6 of theirs or 10 of theirs. It's eye for eye, tooth for tooth. Okay, so this brings us to one of the worst miracles in the New Testament, which is the story of Ananias and Sapphira. And this is from, they're in the 5th chapter of Acts, but we want to start in the 4th chapter of Acts. So at this time, the disciples in Jerusalem have sort of formed a commune, essentially. It says, "For from time, those who owned land or houses sold them, brought the money from the sales, and put it at the apostles' feet, and it was distributed to anyone who had need." And so this is the way they were organizing things in Jerusalem. So in the 5th chapter, we meet Ananias and his wife Sapphira. Now a man named Ananias, with his wife Sapphira, also sold a piece of property. With his wife's full knowledge, he kept back part of the money for himself, but brought the rest and put it at the apostles' feet. And remember, this isn't a rule or a law. This is just, it's all voluntary. So then Peter said, "Ananias, how is it that Satan has so filled your heart that you have lied to the Holy Spirit and have kept for yourself some of the money that you received for the land? Didn't it belong to you before it was sold? And after it was sold, wasn't the money at your disposal? What made you think of doing such a thing? You have not lied just to human beings, but to God." Then when Ananias heard this, he fell down and died, and a great fear seized all who heard what had happened. Then some young men came forward, wrapped up his body, and carried him out and buried him. So it says, after 3 hours later, his wife came in, not knowing what had happened. Peter asked her, "Tell me, is this the price you and Ananias got for the land?" "Yes," she said, "that is the price." Peter said to her, "How could you conspire to test the Spirit of the Lord? Listen, the feet of the men who buried your husband are at the door, and they will carry you out also." At that moment she fell down at his feet and died. Then the young man came in, finding her dead, carried her out, and buried her beside her husband. And now let us revisit an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. It's a limit. The punishment has to fit the crime. And that's the big problem with this story in Acts here, written by Luke, who was not there, and written by Luke some 40 years plus after these events supposedly took place. What makes it extremely doubtful is, remember, Jesus taught, "Forgive and you will be forgiven. I want mercy, not sacrifice." When those guys were pounding nails into Jesus' hands, he said, "Forgive them, Father. They know not what they're doing." It's inconceivable that Peter, taught by Jesus and understanding the gospel of Jesus, would turn around and condone the death of these people for what? They didn't steal the money. They just underreported or overreported their generosity. So the punishment does not fit the crime. And look who's being so unforgiving and hard about everything. It's Peter, the guy who denied Jesus, the guy who was told to forgive his brothers 70 plus 7 times. He's the one that couldn't find it in his heart to excuse this over-reporting of generosity or whatever this crime could be described as. It's inconceivable to me that it happened. Plus, the whole thing slanders God. You might think that eye for eye, tooth for tooth stuff is kind of rough and primitive, but at least it's fair. This is totally out of proportion to the crime. There's totally no mercy here. And it sets a precedent for the church when they decided, if the Holy Spirit can kill someone for this trivial thing, then what about when someone is a heretic and spreading false ideas? Certainly it must be okay to burn them at high noon. It's just a monstrous idea. It slanders God. And it's totally inconsistent with what else is reported. Let's go back to the first chapter of Acts. So in the first chapter of Acts, because Judas has died, they've decided there should still be 12 apostles, 12 disciples. And so the 11 get together and they've chosen 2 candidates, Joseph and Matthias. And it says, and then they prayed, Lord, you know everyone's heart. Show us which of these 2 men you have chosen. So in Ananias and Sapphira's case, apparently the Holy Spirit whispers like mad to Peter so he can make that little death prophecy. But here it says, after they prayed, then they cast lots, and the lot fell on Matthias. So he was added to the 11 apostles. So this is like a major decision. There's no Holy Spirit whispering in anybody's ear. There's no tongue of flame showing up over the right candidate's head. They don't all have the same dream the night before that tells them which ones to choose. They cast lots, it says. Has your minister ever told you to pray about something and then cast lots? I don't think so. That's my opinion. You can agree with me or disagree. Maybe you should just pray about it and flip a coin. Right? That would be biblical. Anyway, I'm Charles, and thanks for watching.